if I change my first name, then they're not going to find anything that I post.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Adrian Pangilinan, and welcome back to Soul Supremacy, where we talk about all things unapologetic, all things passion and things in pursuit of. And for today, we have another beautiful and lovely guest on my channel, y'all. I'm so excited. This person has been someone that I just told him that I wanted to. He's been on the list, actually, when I was making the show. I made a list, and I think it went up to about over 25 for sure. And this person is definitely one of them. And this person is Drama Del Rosario. He is let me pull up my notes. Hold on so I can say this correctly. A documentary filmmaker, Hollywood producer. His pronouns are he and him. And ultimately, he is a BAFTA grant winner and PBS jury winner. Kapatid, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really, really well, considering, how the world is going. I'm doing relatively well, and I'm happy about that. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm surviving. I'm a survivor. We're all survivors, and we're adapting. We're adaptable, and somehow, some way, we're still thriving.
And we make do. We make do with what the world has given us.
Yes, especially being Filipinos. We are freaking resilient. Freaking resilient.
Oh my God.
Okay, kapatid. So before we get started, I just wanted to get started with some icebreaker questions. So the first one is, what are 3 things about you that people wouldn't normally know from meeting you for the first time?
Oh my gosh. Okay. First one would be how I got the name Drama. So I have a really, really long Filipino name, which is Aaron Marcos Advincula Del Rosario. If you put my last name at the start, Del Rosario Aaron Marcos Advincula. So that's DRAMA as my initials. So that's how I got the name Drama. My sister discovered it. She was like, I think I was in high school. She discovered it and she was like, hey, did you know that your initials spell drama? And I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. And then it clicked. I used it for like my films and like all art related stuff, and people remembered me, and I just kept that name ever since.
Did you
everyone
feel like
in the professional world knows me as Drama?
Yes. Did you feel like okay, so I'm gonna be honest. Did you feel like, how did you feel when you made that decision to go by your stage name as Drama? Did you feel like it fit you?
I feel like it fit me really well. I also did it at that time. I was in high school and I was out to my parents, but they were very homophobic at that time. This was around 2009, and this was when Facebook was becoming a thing.
Yes,
and
I remember.
so like my parents were starting to get a grasp on Facebook, and then they started stalking me on Facebook. And at that time, my family would call me Marcus instead of Drama. So everyone in my family calls me Marcus. So all my Facebook profiles were Marcus Del Rosario. And then when I found out that they were stalking me, I was like, maybe if I change my first name, then they're not going to find anything that I post. So I switched all of my social media accounts to Drama Del Rosario, and they couldn't find all the little gay things that I would post online.
For how long?
For like a couple years, I think. I think up until college, like they didn't find me. Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy. and too, I guess what I really wanted to say was that I do really feel like the name fits you in like the best way possible, because our friend over here is very, very bubbly, and he definitely lives up to the name. Madrama, ganon.
Yes and no. I definitely feel like there's some very like chaotic, problematic people in this world who deserve the name Drama more than me. But I'm happy with this name.
The best person got it. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. What's the next one?
Let's play along the line of names. So outside of my professional life, everyone calls me either Aaron or Marcus.
Oh wow.
So Marcus is what my family calls me, and Aaron is like my boyfriend, all other like close friends and all of that. I actually find it weird when people call me Drama, because like when I speak to myself, I refer to myself as Aaron. So
wow. That's crazy. Okay. One more.
One more. Oh my God.
Spill the tea. Mm.
Okay, another one regarding my name. I hated the name Marcos. I hated it so much. I hated it so much because when I was growing up in elementary school, we would learn about martial law, and Marcos sounds like
Oh,
Marcos.
okay. What
And
like
everyone would like,
how's it spelled? Yung
So
Marcos.
my Marcos is with a U, and then ex-president Marcos is with an O, but they sound alike. And so every time we would talk
Marcos.
about martial law, my classmates
Oh
would be like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, that's you!" And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
"Stop!"
Yeah.
Like they were like, "Stop! That's not me. His name just sounds like me."
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I just hated
Yeah.
that name growing up just because of who it was associated to. So
Dang.
yeah, those are
That's
my
crazy.
three names.
Is it okay? Just one offset question. Is that what it is? Like your full name that you mentioned? I'm assuming that's what's on your driver's license, right?
Like on my birth certificate, on my passport, like literally Aaron Marcos Advincula del Rosario. Aaron Marcos is my first name. I have two first names. Advincula
Oh.
is my middle name, which is my mom's maiden name, and then del
Mm,
Rosario is my last name. So my whole name is 5 words. So
wow. Would you like another random question? Interested. Would you ever consider like legally changing it to drama, or what are your thoughts on
I
that
don't know,
case?
maybe not, because I really, really like Aaron. I feel like Aaron is such a nice name. Every time you alphabetize a list, Aaron
Mm-hmm.
is at the top, Aaron. Um,
Yeah.
And drama, like I don't know if I would legally change my name to drama, but
Yeah.
maybe like as a business name or as like a doing
Yes.
business as type thing.
Yeah, because in the end, I guess in the end you really don't need to, right? Because like if you think about it, Coco Martin, what's his that's not his name. That's not his that's his stage name. It's like
Mhm.
I'm blanking out, but that's not his name. Julia Montes,
Mhm.
is like Mara Schnitska. It's like
Mhm.
it's so different, but then it sounds like them at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, my friend. So my next question for you is, what does your morning routine look like if you have any of some sort?
Ooh, that is a good question. So I wake up around like I don't know, my body clock has been so messy. I can wake up anytime from like
Ugh,
7 a.m. to 12 noon. But
yes,
usually
ma'am.
first thing I do when I wake up, first thing I do when I wake up is have my apple cider vinegar, honey, cinnamon drink thing.
Okay.
Apparently it like cleanses your body and makes like
Mm,
helps you like eat healthier throughout the day. I don't know, I just
that's what
really
I
like it.
need.
I've switched I've eliminated coffee from my diet and
Ooh,
I've switched to the apple cider vinegar with honey and cinnamon and it has just helped me so much. I sleep
mm,
better, I eat better. So yeah,
wow,
I have that's what I have in the morning. That's my morning routine.
nice.
Sometimes
Do
clean
you?
the apartment to like,
Mhm.
like empty my thoughts and whatever. I hate starting the day with my starting my work day with a messy apartment. So
Oh,
sometimes while
yeah.
having my drink, I tidy up.
Yeah. Actually, that's what I did before. I was like, I could no, I couldn't. I was like, I just need to tidy this up because yeah, you just can't. So is it safe to say that then after like then and there that you like get to work? Like I guess I'm curious too, like how do you ease it into your work day? Is it like a hard like I gotta get into work and then or maybe some days I'm like I'm gonna parang like crawl my way into
Like
work,
ease in, yeah,
ease
no,
in,
it really really depends for me, like me honestly, it really depends on how tidy my environment is. I literally
Ooh.
cannot work if there's a mess on the table, if the couch is messy, if the pillows are everywhere and all of that. Like I need a tidy place. I'm a Virgo, I'm a very organized person.
Okay.
So as long as the environment around me is nice and tidy and organized, then I can ease into work properly.
Mm, wow. That's
I
beautiful.
cannot work with a messy apartment. I just can't. Like I can, like my eye will go like mad.
You'll go bonkers.
Mhm.
Okay, so actually that's a perfect segue to my next question, which is what is the best part about your line of work?
Ooh, that I honestly like feel in my heart that I'm actually helping other people. Like honestly, like that sounds like such a cheesy
You are.
bullshit
No, you
answer,
are.
but like the documentaries that I make, talking about like mental health and LGBT issues, and even my full-time job, I work as a lead video producer for
Mm.
Believe, which is a production company that specializes in content for people with disabilities and rare diseases. Like
Wow.
the work that we do, like it's gonna go to a community or to people that are really gonna need it, and that's just like
Mm.
really. I feel like that's just so satisfying because I could be working in production, but I could be making like some random fluff, like brainless content, which
Yeah.
which isn't really that satisfying. It could sustain you, but not really that like it doesn't feel like you're actually doing like your purpose in this world. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I like about the kind of nonfiction work that I do.
Wow. You know what? Actually, good thing you actually brought that up because then at some point I was curious to see like if like what were you doing? Like what are you doing in terms of like if you had a day job and how you're actually able to sustain yourself as a documentary filmmaker. But you answered that. But actually, I think from my notes, I'm still gonna follow that up later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite food?
Oh my God!
One.
Wait.
Only
I
one.
have in my notes app. I have a complete list of my favorite food. Let's see.
Do you want to
I
show
can
us?
only pick one. Oh my God! Can I read you like the
Yes.
top 10?
You
I'm
can
gonna
read.
read the
Well,
interesting. Should I just read
okay.
like the whole list?
Just go
Okay.
read it. Just go read it. Since you have a
Um,
list anyways, why not, right?
cool. In no particular order, by the way. I'm just like reading it out loud.
Mm.
Takis. I love Takis so much. The chips.
At
Um,
some point, at some point, I was obsessed with it,
yeah.
but not anymore.
It's horrible for your, for your stomach
The
the next day,
Yeah,
but
because it's so
it's so good.
spicy. Yeah.
Also try the guacamole flavor. It's so good.
Oh, I've tried it. So
Okay.
good.
Next is just a simple bar of Cadbury Dairy Milk Chocolate. Just a simple bar on like a lazy day.
Wouldn't you
So
say
satisfying.
that? Wouldn't you say that? Okay. So I guess what I wanted to say was, wouldn't you say that that has a lot, or I guess that has a lot to do with like those kinds of chocolates, like especially like if somebody were to send you like like buy a box or something like that, I feel like that would always be inside there. Those
Oh
like
yeah, just like a
imported,
simple bar. Just like a
delicate
simple
chocolate.
bar, like no bullshit, no fluff, whatever. Just like a
Yeah.
nice, simple bar of smooth chocolate. Oh
Mm,
my God, like that makes
yeah.
me so happy.
Yeah.
Let's
Go.
see, what are the other interesting things in this list? Um, Miso baked aubergines. That's really interesting. I don't know why I put
What's
that there,
that?
but basically like eggplants baked in miso paste,
Miso paste, like miso soup?
like
Is
miso
that
soup, like the paste that you
okay?
use
Oh,
for
the
miso
paste.
soup. Oh my God,
Okay.
wait. Here, I think I actually know what my favorite food is.
Okay.
Now that I'm looking at this list, longanisa. Honestly, love it so much. Literally, grew
You know
up
what?
with.
Kapatid, let me call Longanisa right now to make a special appearance
Oh
on
my
the episode.
God!
I bought
Wait, what kind? What
is the
kind?
regular, the red one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
my
So
favorite ones are Ilocos longanisa,
mm,
which is which I usually would get from like my grandmother, I think, or my
mhm.
grandfather's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, basically.
Yes.
And then I also really love lukban longanisa
What's
with
that?
it's a kind of longanisa that's from Lukban. It's like small and it's like red orangey. Has a really nice taste. You have it with cinnamon vinegar. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I think longanisa would be my favorite food ever. Like out of this
Yeah.
entire list, I think that's my top one. I
Yes.
love it so much. It's just like my comfort food.
Me too. Me too. I mean, it's like what you said about Takis. It's not
Mhm.
the most healthiest, but on a cold day, on a hard day, any day, it's
Mhm.
always a good decision.
As long as you're ready to commit to like the stomach pain that's gonna happen the next day. I don't know. At least
Yeah.
for me, like my
Oh, for
stomach hurts
you.
the next day when I eat it, but it's
Oh
just so
no.
worth it.
Do you do, what do you eat it with? I'm curious.
Just the whole bag by itself. Maybe with
oh wait,
like a
no.
Diet Coke.
The longanisa. Sorry.
Oh, the longanisa with vinegar, cinnamon vinegar, um, garlic rice, garlic fried rice, maybe
Okay.
like a sunny side up egg.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Long
for
silog. Long
long
silog.
silog
Mhm.
for breakfast, lunch, brunch, whatever, dinner, midnight snack. I love it so
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
Love it
Yeah.
so much.
Yes. See, I knew there was a reason why like you and I click when we first met. I was like, no, yeah. No. Yeah, because I would also say like, I mean, I have a lot of favorite foods, but I do feel like if I were to choose one, it would be like longanisa would definitely beat spam. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Any day.
Yeah. Okay, kapatid. Okay, so my last question for this section is if you were to have a TikTok dance challenge that would go super viral, what would
Oh
the
my
first
god.
what would the first move look like? And you have to show us.
I don't know. I'm so horrible at dancing. My friends and I, when we were in college, we would go to like college parties and stuff. We would have one go-to move, which is
Mhm.
like,
Oh my goodness.
which is like
Is it-
water running down your chest or whatever, which is like that.
I love it. To what music? Just anything, right?
It's just
No.
like, just like EDM or like really bad like
Oh yes, I
music.
see
It's supposed
this.
to be like a waterfall down your chest, and it's like really sexy. And we would just like do that in like
I
like the random
I
clubs.
love it. I actually felt happy doing it.
Yeah. Oh my god, I miss my college friends so much. I have not seen them since I moved here, and
Mm.
you know, if I ever see them again, I can't wait to do that dance move with them all over again.
Wow. You know, actually, that is also another question that I have in which like your experiences of like what made you leave. I mean, if it's safe to say, what made you leave your life in the
Mhm.
Philippines and moved here in a bit. So, okay, kapatid, we made it through the icebreaker questions. So now, my first question for you is, who is Drama Del Rosario?
Hello, it's me. I am Drama Del Rosario. I am a documentary filmmaker. I am originally from Manila in the Philippines, specifically Quezon City, born and raised there. Moved here to Los Angeles um, in 2017 to pursue documentary film, you know, seriously. When I was working in the Philippines, I, you know, was working in fashion and beauty, and I really, really enjoyed that, you know, doing like features for online magazines and doing like nice tutorials and stuff. But I really, really wanted to pursue documentary filmmaking and nonfiction, and tell like very intimate personal stories. And I feel like I couldn't really get that in the Philippines because most of the documentaries there are like journalistic kind of documentaries, which is cool, but it just was never my thing. I love stories that are personal. I love stories that, you know, are about the things that I've gone through in my own life, and you know, the things that I realize as I'm getting older. And moving here to LA really gave me the opportunity to explore that, professionally and artistically. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be recognized by BAFTA. I won a BAFTA grant in 2019. I won a an award from PBS last year. So, and you know, just a bunch of other screenings all over the world and in the US. Had the pleasure of screening at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. So yeah, just, you know, doing nonfiction is mostly what I do. A lot of the films that I make are personal documentaries, which is, you know, putting myself, not just behind the camera, but also in front of the
Mm.
camera to share my own personal like confessionals and my own realizations in my own life. And, you know, I never like actively try to make my documentaries like journalistic or like social issues and like tackling like hard tackling like certain like issues.
Never
I
not
just
really
like
about you, or at least what you can actually offer and bring to the
right. So
table,
like
you know.
I never like when I start thinking of a documentary, my mindset isn't really like what's a hot issue in this
Hot,
world that I can
yeah,
address or
yeah.
whatever. Like
Trying to save the
that's not
world.
yeah, like that's not really like my how my mind works. I kind of just like
Mhm.
reflect on the things that I've gone through in my life and share them to other people, and from there that's where those like um issues and like traumas and all of those things arise. And I've just been very fortunate that other people could relate with them and have resonated with them. And I am just a sad boy making films. Honestly, that those are what my films are about. I'm honestly
Mm.
just like a sad boy making sad films. Um, I never really like in terms of how my mind works artistically. I'm less of like a journalistic kind of
Yeah.
documentary filmmaker and more of just like songwriter. You know how songwriters like write about their breakups and just like write songs
Yeah.
about super personal things in their life. That's
Feelings.
kind of
Yeah.
like their feelings and all of the heartbreaks that they've had. That's kind of how I approach making a documentary film.
Yeah, you know what, actually I like everything that you said, especially the last part, because I really feel like that is definitely your brand, and there is definitely something about like really leaning into who you are, your own truth, your story, your narrative, and I'm sure you can agree with me, like it's scary as hell. It's scary as hell.
It
But
is.
I think when you're able to position yourself to like get just a little closer to it, to get a little deeper, to really speak from the heart, that's really when breakthroughs happen. Like
Mhm.
everything that you just mentioned, diba? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, kapatid. So we're actually gonna take a big jump though
Okay.
from actually. Oh wait, no, just kidding. No, wrong question. Just kidding. I'm gonna cut this. But that's the next
Okay.
question. Okay, just kidding.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Okay. Okay, kapatid. So I actually just always love to ask this question to my
Mhm.
guest. How did we meet?
We met at one of the events for San Diego Filipino cinema. I think I was screening um,
In this family?
in this family. I was screening in this
Mhm.
family, which is my documentary about my coming out experience as a teenager in the Philippines. And you were there. Were you one of the people like organizing the event
Uh,
or like
I was
covering the event or something like that?
what I was volunteering. Wait, no, just that night specifically, I was volunteering. I
Mhm.
was like tabling. I was tabling. Yeah.
Yeah, because prior to the screening, we had like a panel. Um, we had
Yes.
a
Yeah.
we had like a filmmakers Q&A. I was one of the five different
Yeah.
filmmakers there, and that was fun. I love having little Q&As and stuff.
Yes, me too. Isn't it crazy? I like, if you really think about it, that was like that, and then I guess leading up to like the following year, which was like last year, the year of the pandemic.
Hmm.
I just That was actually for me the beginning process of me starting to accept like, oh, I'm really gonna go this route that is scary, yet I feel like it's really what I want to do. And like attending that the 2 days actually of the movie screening, and I think the second night was yours, and then hearing the Q&A, I was really grateful to be there, because I know it was like seeing someone who's done it, who's made it, and then just kind of literally sharing from their heart and their experience. So that was such a profound moment for me. As we're
Oh,
also
thank
having this
you.
conversation,
Oh
like
my gosh, that
more
means
than
a
a year
lot.
later, I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Oh, thank you. That means so much. That means so much. I love doing panels, especially for Filipino audiences and for Filipino
mm,
communities. Because I grew up in that community, so
yes,
whatever tips I share or life experience that I share to the audience in the Q&A, they just get it more. Like they just get it more because
yes,
we grew up pretty much in the same kind of background.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially like the nuances and everything. Actually,
Mhm.
I was born in a Mandaluyong city, which is not that far
Okay.
from Quezon City.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of that, now we're actually going to take a big jump into your childhood. So,
Okay.
what was if I mean I know it's probably been a minute, but how would you or what was drama like as a kid growing up? What was your childhood like? I'm curious.
That's so funny because literally today I posted a throwback photo of me as a kid. I was so ugly. Like I was like sad virgin
Oh
vibes.
my gosh.
Oh my, look at that.
Huy, hindi. Hindi naman. What the heck? Pogi ka,
Oh my
pogi.
god. Really? Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was I as a kid? I was always fond of social media and technology. I really, was fascinated with YouTube and like Windows Movie Maker and like the rise of Facebook and all of those things. I would make like my own little YouTube show and have like 20 people watching it and all of that. And that's really how I got my start into like the technical side of filmmaking and even just like being more comfortable speaking to a camera and
Yeah.
sharing my own personal thoughts. I would always lock myself in my bedroom because at that time growing up, like my parents were very homophobic. So I was very, very nervous that they would catch me in my bedroom dancing to some pop song, or they would search through my computer history and find all of these like dress up games and like whatever girly shit.
Yes.
So I would always lock myself in my bedroom and I
At
honestly,
least I know. At least your room had a lock. Okay, let's be honest. At least your room had a lock. Okay, because even when I
oh my
moved here,
gosh.
yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
You're like it's funny because even when I moved here, like my first room before all the things happened, even now it still doesn't have a lock.
Oh my God. I literally cannot even imagine not having a locked room.
Now I do.
Oh my gosh. No, but honestly, growing up was,
Yeah.
I honestly I downplay it a lot in my life right now, but I have so much trauma growing up in the kind of environment that I grew up in. I grew up in an all boys school for 16 years of my life. And, not the best environment necessarily. Honestly, I didn't really grow up having a lot of friends because it was an all boys school. I was very unfortunate with the way the classes were shuffled or rearranged and stuff because I barely ever ended up with another gay classmate. Unlike with other people in my year level, they would always be like 2 or 3 of them in the same class. I would always just like for some horrible reason would never end up with another gay person in my class. So growing up, like I did not really have a lot of friends, and I always had like a sense of anxiety that my parents or my teachers were gonna scold me for being gay.
Fight or flight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, being
this.
12 years old, and like dealing with homophobia is like that level of anxiety is not normal at all. But that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, it's really the world that like enough of us in the community live with, Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing. And the reason why I wanted to ask that too specifically is because I, at least from in this family, I definitely know that like at least for me personally speaking, I can share some of that like I definitely resonate and share some of that experiences of just having like always having your guard up, and then like sooner than later that it starts to eat you. It can start eating you alive if you're not strong enough to kind of survive that. Yeah. My next question is, I know you briefly talked about like the technology aspect of things, so can you actually like go more into details about like when you actually got started into creating films, like when and what was that experience like? And I guess also in the end, like, and at what point now did you realize that, ooh, there's really something in this. This is what I want to pursue professionally.
Yeah. I think there are 2 things in my childhood and teenage years that really led up to me pursuing documentary film today. The first one was really, that fascination with technology and YouTube and editing software and whatever. When we were kids, my mom would take pictures all the time. My dad would take home videos all the time.
Yes,
And
VHS.
So, yes, VHS, Betamax and whatever. Like we would, like they would just film everything. And, I was always really curious about like, okay, how can I piece this together and all of that, started, by watching my sister play around with the, It's fine.
My bad.
Started with me observing my sister as she played around with her camera because she was older by 3 years. And then started making little short films on PowerPoint. Eventually moved on to like Windows Movie Maker and then started posting on social media. And then the rest is history from there. And I guess the next one that really contributed to me pursuing documentary films is that I watched a lot of reality TV as a kid. Honestly, watched so much reality TV as a kid, like America's Next Top Model, Simple Life, Jersey Shore, Amazing Race, Survivor, like literally all of those reality shows. Watched them all as a kid. Like my classmates would watch like violence and like sports and like all of those like shows, and I would just stay at home and like binge watch America's Next Top Model. And just like real life was so fascinating for me. Like as a gay boy in the Philippines watching American reality TV, like I was just so fascinated with how interesting real life could actually be, whether it's scripted or not. I don't know. But it was just like really, really fascinating for me as a kid watching that. Also, like reality TV, if you think about it, at that time was really where I got my sense of diversity. Not necessarily good representations, but reality TV and like America's Next Top Model and like those shows was really where I would find like brown people, where I would find queer people, when I would find like people who were loud, people who I could identify with, things that I never really got from like narrative shows growing up.
Mainstream. Well, no, I'm not actually. I'm lying. No, America's not. No, they were mainstream. Just kidding. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
just anyone, I guess, different from the norm.
So like watching all of those like reality TV and just seeing how interesting real life could be is what really drew me into doing documentary films. Eventually would like make some documentary films for school projects and all of that. And I, they went really well, and I thought it was really interesting, and having that like stock knowledge of like how to edit a video and how nonfiction works in reality TV really helped me as a high school student making documentary films for school projects. And that's really, where I got what paved the way for me realizing that nonfiction is really what I enjoy.
Wow. I'm curious, what channel were they showing America's Next Top Model?
That is a good question. I don't recall. I honestly don't recall. Sometimes we would just illegally download them.
Yes. You know what? I mean, we gotta get our foot somehow, especially
they would because it would air on Philippine TV and they would syndicate it, but it would be like 1 month late. So, but if you illegally downloaded it, you would like watch it like
sooner.
Yeah, exactly, like 1 hour after it airs, and then you wouldn't get like spoilers and all of that. So,
yeah, I mean, especially what year was this? You said like 2009,
like 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, it's not crazy. That's crazy. That was more than a decade ago.
Oh my gosh, I think about that all the time.
But but also too, I think what you were saying actually was like such a glimpse of like the beautiful journey of like technology, but more so social media from, I guess, like I would say mid 2000s up until I would say 2020. Like if you were to look at like all of that within that time frame, it's so different, like the realities were so different, because what you just said about that, like that back then was like that in terms of like it was so much harder for things like the accessibility wasn't as accessible as it is now. Whereas in 2021, anything that you want to look for, anything that you're, looking for, like, I guess even if you're in the Philippines, it's so much more accessible. It's easy.
I love it so much. And just like the level of comfort when it comes to sharing stuff. I remember like during the early ages of social media, people would be like so paranoid that if they post this picture, it would like this would happen and people would like steal their information and all of that. Yeah. But now like I feel very comfortable opening up and like sharing very personal things on social media. Things that I probably would not even like share like 15 years ago. So
yeah. And you've also like you've definitely made a career out of your vulnerability, Which I mean,
Honestly, true. I think about that all the time. Like honestly,
yeah.
like I have honestly made a career out of me being a sad boy.
Yes, that's actually what I
which
wanted. Yes, no, that I mean, in hindsight, I mean, you like position yourself so well. Actually, that's what I wanted to say the first time you mentioned that. I was like, and you also like capitalize on that, which I feel like, I mean, yes, it sucks, but I feel like, in my opinion, that's one of the best ways we can, I guess, deal and heal. Wow, that rhymed. Deal and heal with our own stuff. It's like when we use it
So
to
true. Hmm.
give it back to the world. It's like, yes, it's hard, like what I mentioned earlier, but the power, like it's tremendous power. It's there. I'm speechless.
Yeah, no, when I think about my films, like in this family, a lot of the homophobia and just like the trauma from that, you know, I making the film helped me process that. And even with I'm Okay, Neither Are You, which is my film
Yeah.
about my own experience with mental health and sexual assault trauma. Like, had I not made that film, I probably would not have processed those things faster.
Mm.
And it really helped me like gain a sense of comfort to talk about those very sensitive things, but also to just move on from it. Like once you see your trauma and your life journey from the bigger picture in a 30-minute or like in a 20-30 minute film, like you gain so much clarity, and that helps you move on so much faster.
Yes, literally, metaphorically, like a
Mhm.
shift of perspective. Like, I guess you even like looking at it while experiencing it with the other people around you,
Mhm.
experiencing it, sharing visceral experience. I think, I mean, yeah, it's hard, but also, I mean, I don't, I don't think I can see another like any more of a beautiful way to be able to like find healing, hopefully even closure. Closures. You know.
Definitely. Like I don't know if you feel this, but like growing up in the Philippines, I was like
Mm.
gaslit so much. Like
Yes,
the
ma'am. Even
trauma,
here.
the trauma of like growing up as a gay kid and like dealing with mental health and dealing with like sexual assault trauma and like, talking about what it's like, being in a relationship and all of that. Like your worries, like my worries and my insecurities and all my traumas were so gaslit growing
Mhm.
up that
Yeah.
finally having the opportunity to share them now and actually process that trauma is such a good feeling. And
Yeah.
I encourage other people to do that too.
Even before we knew what gaslighting was, because when I found that out, I was like,
Right?
I
Isn't it so relatable? Like
yes, I was
that's
like,
for me.
yeah. Kapatid, I'm curious. So I know you just briefly mentioned about life in the Philippines. So actually, what made you decide to immigrate, here to the US and like leave your life behind? I'm curious. Please share with us.
Yeah, I mean, growing up with no friends really helped me leave things behind.
Oh,
But
you know what?
honestly,
Okay.
though, like I
Okay.
didn't have like I
Okay.
mean, like I love my family and I do have friends in the Philippines, but
Mm.
like
Oh.
I like I always knew from my childhood that eventually if there was a time when I had to leave my hometown and actually pursue bigger things, then I would have to like in a way kind of like let go of those sentimental attachments to certain people. But honestly, like
Oh.
when I
Wow.
was really thinking about it, like I had graduated from college. I was working full time in in beauty and fashion, making videos for beauty apps and all of that. And while that was fun, like I knew I always wanted to do documentaries and nonfiction. And like I said
Mhm.
earlier, if I were to pursue that in the Philippines, it would be more like news, which isn't really my thing.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to move here, I was debating like different places in the U.S. and Los Angeles really made the most
Mm.
sense to me and the kind of person that I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I moved here, and I'm happy that I did, and
Wow.
I I'm happy to be doing the kind of nonfiction work that I'm doing because I don't think it's something that I would be able to do necessarily in the Philippines.
Yeah. Kapatid. Actually, let me clarify that. Okay, so for those that are listening and we're like, and is wondering what does that mean? Kapatid means
Sibling.
brother, sister, sibling, friend, like in all ways, right? In Tagalog, which is we're both Filipino. Um, I okay, so super long story short, I guess I'm also at that crossroads, is what I would call it. Of my life now. Like, did you did you consider did did you consider any parts of the Philippines, or did you just know that you just wanted to like it's so big, right? It's so big of a
Uh-huh.
jump, like because and the reason why, and I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I'm gonna tell you. So like I've been asking for advice, or not advice, but I've just been talking about it with a lot of my close friends, and the the majority of the answers that I've been getting, I feel like it's not supporting what I feel like I need, and it's just like basically a lot of them are saying why so far, like why, and of course I think it's something that I really can't explain, but it's something that I feel. And the fact that you said that, it's like that's how I feel too, you know. But why so big? I'm curious. And did you consider any other options like areas in the Philippines?
Yeah, honestly, like I wasn't even considering like other areas in the Philippines. I feel like if I was like no shade to
Yeah,
like other
yeah.
areas in the Philippines,
No,
but like
yeah.
I the big TV stations and film companies were in Manila.
Mhm.
So that was a good thing. So it's either stay in Manila or move to another place. And I always thought to myself, if I am gonna move to another place, might as well go big. And by go
Yes.
big, I mean like go to like the center of the entertainment industry, which is LA.
Yeah.
Because, if I go to a different place, which kind of has its own little like maybe like film and movie industry or film and TV industry, it might still not be just as satisfying as moving to the actual like center, which is LA.
Mm.
And also just like how just like the level of comfort with like being able to walk with your partner while holding their hand, like that level of
Mm.
judgment is something that I was always afraid of growing up in the Philippines. And just moving to LA, like those are things that I don't have to worry about. I also really like telling people that I live in the same area as the Kardashians, which is like
Uh-huh.
fun.
Ellen DeGeneres, all of those people.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what? Actually, well, he lives in Thailand now. My mentor. Actually, I had him on the show. He invited me to his place in Malibu like years ago, and he was like, "Hey, Alan DeGeneres lives across this mountain," and I'm like, "Okay, just like that, right? No big deal."
No, I miss the beach so much. Like during this pandemic, I've missed the beach so much. And I can't
Wow.
wait to be chilling in Malibu eating seafood when I'm fully vaccinated.
So, okay, so you just really haven't been outside at all, like
No, like I literally, but honestly, like I kind of like it. Like people think I'm a very
as
social
someone, wait,
person.
hold on, wait, as someone that said they grew up being locked in their room, like obviously that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no.
Homebody, diba? Especially,
No.
especially being in your own space. I mean, if
Mhm.
that's the case for me, I'd be home all the time too. But since I can't, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. That actually like makes so much sense to me now, and I can't believe I'm only realizing it at this very moment. Growing up locked up in my bedroom has prepared me for
Quarantine
COVID-19 lockdown.
2020, 2020.
No,
There
but
you go.
like people think that I'm like so outgoing and like so social, and like I love like going to like events and like getting to know people, which is kind of true. But also like I just love staying at home and doing nothing. I work so hard and I have a busy schedule, but I love doing
Mm.
nothing at home and just chilling on the couch and scrolling through my phone and eating food. Like I love being in lockdown. Honestly, I love staying at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. You know, what, actually, I'm so appreciative of you for saying that because like I mean, would you say, I mean, you're an introvert, like more introverted than not, right?
I don't know because I do that. What do you call that test? The Myers Briggs test and whatever. And
Do
my
they call you
extrovert
extroverted?
So like my extrovert and introvert always like so there are four letters, right? My three
Yeah,
other letters are always consistent, but my extrovert and introvert are always fluctuating. It's always in the middle. It's either like
Mm.
45%, 55%, whatever, and it's
Oh
always in the
wow.
middle. It jumps from here and there. So
Mm. Yeah. Because the reason why I bring that up is because you know how like the last two times that we've seen each other, or I guess the only two times we've seen each other at the SDFC events, we'd always go out and and you'd like, oh, thank you, we can't join. I'm like, I can relate to that. That is a mood, okay? Just want to go home after a long day. You know what I mean? I can relate to that. I
no, that
sense that.
is so me. Honestly, that's so me. That's also my boyfriend. Like both of us are just like, oh my God, when is this party
No.
gonna end?
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I'm the same way. Except I guess when if I need to pull it off, I pull it out like to really be out there. I have to, but in the end, I'm so tired.
I am. Oh my God. Like my body cannot handle. It's also because like I really used to overwork myself when I was in high school and college.
Yeah.
Like I was just like such a like offensively hardworking student. Like I like gave no shits about my free time and my rest time. And like I just
Mm,
did not care about the effects of that on my body. And now that
mm,
I'm older, I finally feel the effects of that. And I'm just like, I cannot be partying, I cannot be drinking as much as I did when I was 18 years old. I just cannot. I need a couch and I need to like pillows
yeah.
and I need to lie down by like
TV
7 p.m.
running.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I cannot. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. What you okay, so before we finally move on to our next question, I actually love this. What you just said actually, I'm realizing, I'm reflecting, I'm learning, like being a hard worker, or I guess overworking, or the fine line of that, right, is
Mhm.
also a form of a trauma response. You
Oh
know, like
yeah.
for
Oh my
escape.
gosh.
It is.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It
no, I
is.
was in a clubhouse talking about this like a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Um, just like growing up in the Philippines, the amount of homework that they would give us, and just like so our school had this like bulletin board with a calendar of the upcoming major tests or exams that are coming up, and there was literally like one every single week, not including the essays that we had to write and all the other research papers that we had to write. So we were very, very overworked students.
Mm,
And it never really occurred to us at that time. Well, to me, it never really occurred to me at the time just how overworked we really were. And I graduated from school. Yeah, I like aced this test and I wrote this research paper and whatever, but like I never had the time to develop relationships with my family, to develop relationships with friends. I was tired all the time.
and
Um,
also self, with yourself.
and with yourself and just like it and having that lack of a work life balance is what contributes to people being so like complacent with working overtime and like not getting paid and like not getting paid for overtime work and just working after hours. Like I respect my own work life balance so much. Like once I clock out and I drop every professional thing and just rest. Like I that division for me matters so much and I wish I fostered that when I was younger as a student.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? I it's definitely one of those things now. Like, yes, in hindsight, it's like, you were just surviving, you were just doing what you knew, but at the same time, I feel like the realization would not be the same if we hadn't gone through that. It wouldn't be like oh no, I definitely can't, unless if you just like literally like jump into the water and like almost drowned and like, no, I'm not doing that again because I almost drowned.
Literally,
Yeah.
like every day, some random like childhood teenage memory pops up in my head of me living in the Philippines, and I was like, "Oof, that contributed to my trauma today," and I don't even
Mhm.
realize it. So,
Wow.
think about that a lot, honestly.
Yeah. How old are you?
Guess, just kidding. I am 26 years old. Actually, no,
26.
I'm
Okay.
just 18. I'm
Ah,
18 years young.
26, and you've
26.
done so much. You've done so much, like
Oh, thank you.
professionally, and it sounds like too, like definitely growth wise too. Because kapatid at 26, well, let's say at 25. 25 was really when like that journey of like, that parang like started, and I just turned 29. So, but I will definitely have to say that, like, well, I guess your 20s in general, but I guess the last half, I think, is more so definitely the more important parts, of your growing, is because you really start to, you either go this, or either you stay where you're at and go this way, or you actually make a decision to really grow and to really, be like, my life deserves better. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna go this way. Diba?
Mm,
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
How was your how's your experience? How was your experience settling here? Were you homesick a lot, or were you just like, finally? I don't know. I'm curious.
Honestly, I was like, finally.
Yeah,
Because, like,
right answer. There you go. That's what it sounds like you were gonna
because,
say.
like, so much like helicopter parenting and so much micromanagement back home in the Philippines, and just like have my own sense of freedom
Yeah.
to like manage my own money, manage my own time, hang out with whoever I want to hang out, and not have like like just like the thought of my parents hovering over me
Yeah.
feels so good. I feel like I grew up so much, and honestly, one of the best
Mm.
things that I think a parent, and I mean this specifically for Filipino families, one of the best things that a Filipino parent can do to their Filipino child is just to be so hands off. Like, I feel like there's so much helicopter parenting going on, and just to like let your kids like live their life and make mistakes and explore their own identity
Mm.
is just one of the best things that a parent can do. I feel like so
Mm.
many, like, I feel that with my parents, I feel like, they overcompensate so much.
Mm.
And they feel like they're doing so well. Like, this is what a parent should do. Like, a parent should be helping you do this. It should be teaching you to do this. And you don't do it, I'll do it for you. And like all of that. And I feel like they're overcompensating for their parenting so much. But sometimes that, does a negative effect. Like, I appreciate it and I'm thankful for it, but having the opportunity to learn things for yourself and to make mistakes is so nice. And that's really what I loved when I moved here. Like, it was so relieving for me to have that freedom.
Yes, yeah. And what you just said exactly, and like the other parts, I think for me is my really the reason why I myself wanna, like, I wanna move back home,
Mhm.
and that, trying to explain that to my friends who are, I mean, also Filipino, but actually one, I think you met him, Rich, at the
Mhm.
event, but he's also like a first gen, but yeah, I just, I guess for me, if I knew that I was gonna stay here, I would know, but I
Mhm.
don't. And it's been 20 years since we've been here, and it's still 20 years of like the what ifs. It's like I really felt like I left my heart there, and even 20 years later, I'm like, that still feels very true. So you sharing that, just knowing, even if you couldn't explain it, you just know, and that's what your gut is.
Mhm.
You're not supposed to be able to explain it, but you're just supposed to know.
Mhm.
So thanks for listening. Wow.
No, I love
Wow.
that. I love
Oh
that so
yeah,
much.
yeah. Oh, actually, let me look at my next question. Hold on, sorry, I
Yeah, go
got.
ahead.
I have a couple more questions for you. Let's see. Okay, let me get my act together, and
Yeah,
let me have
go
one
ahead.
more
Let me
sip.
take a sip of
Mm.
water.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much again for your time. I've really been enjoying this so far. And
Yeah.
we're actually getting ready to like kind of start wrapping up too. So,
Okay. Cool.
okay, so my friend, so now that you've immigrated here for, however long you have, since you said 2017, right?
September
Yeah.
2017 is when I started my master's degree. So I moved here for my
Nice.
master's
Yeah,
in documentary
nice.
film.
So nice. And you graduated, right?
Yeah, I graduated in 2019.
Nice. Um, what was your first professional project as a documentary filmmaker, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, I would say the first really big one that really hit it off in the professional world was In This Family. So In This
Mm,
Family was actually one of my first major projects in my masters when I took my masters in documentary film. The assignment was called a personal voice film
mm,
during our first semester. And basically the concept of that project is as a documentary filmmaker, you are asking other people to open up and share their deepest, darkest secrets on camera. And we, the teachers, want you as documentary filmmakers to experience that yourself, to be in front of the
mm,
camera, share your own life story and your life secrets, so that when you're the one doing the interviews of other people, you know what it feels like.
mhm.
And so, I was sitting with our writing instructor and we were going around the class, asking each other, like, what is the biggest, most defining moment in your life that could be turned into a documentary? And I was so horrified because I knew exactly what that was, which is me coming out to my parents, or me being outed by my teacher to my parents when I was in
Oof.
seventh grade.
Mm.
And, I shared that to the entire class. And, I told them, I'm gay, and my teacher outed me when I was grade seven or seventh grade,
Right,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
When
Yes.
I was in seventh grade, and
Mm,
that has affected my life so much. And then my teacher asked, what do you have right now that will help tell that story in the form of a film? And then I remembered that in my drawers back home in my apartment is a hard drive of all my childhood memories, and in one of those memories
mm,
was a recording that I had done when I was a teenager coming out, because my parents would yell at me all the time. They would yell at me all the time. And so I thought to myself, hey, I had just gotten my first ever phone, or first ever iPhone. I thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be fun if I slip my phone into my pocket and just record them yelling at me? Like, just for fun. At that time, like, no
oh,
intention whatsoever of turning it into a film, just
that's an
recording
evidence
it
right
for
there. Evidence.
just recording it for like memory's sake.
Oh,
And then,
dang.
so when my writing instructor asked that, I remembered, oh my gosh, I have those recordings. I literally had those recordings for 10 years, have listened to it only like once or twice over the course of 10 years. And that's really what drove the creation of that film. Um, just
Wow.
listening to those audio recordings all over again and just reliving that experience and just seeing how much our family has grown, learning about, sexuality and homophobia and all of that. Um, Learning about all of that and seeing how much my family has grown over the course of 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
First
I
of
was
all,
very fortunate. Yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
okay. So go ahead. Sorry. Go.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
was just going to say that I've been very fortunate that, this story of me coming out has resonated with so many people. Usually, the lifespan of a documentary film is like 1 to 2 years. If it's
Mm,
bound to a certain like social issue or bound to a certain like hot thing that's happening in the world right now.
yeah.
But, a lot of people have said that In This Family is very timeless, and it really, resonates
It
throughout
is.
the times. And I've been
Yeah.
so fortunate that the film is still going strong
Running.
almost
Yeah.
5 years after I've made it. 5 years after I've made the film. So I've just been very fortunate, and I'm glad that people are still resonating with the story.
Yeah. Okay, so my next question is, which actually is perfect because being someone who is part of the LGBTQ plus community and definitely someone who's definitely done who's been a how do I excuse me? Let me ask that question again. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, because I was trying to say mental health advocate, but I couldn't. I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. There you go. Okay, kapatid. So, being someone who is part of the LGBTQ plus community and someone who's also, been an advocate for mental health, how would you say that those two have, helped shape your works in general?
Yeah, honestly, I've just been so lucky, especially moving here to LA, to have found a
We're
boyfriend and
neighbors.
friends.
Sorry.
To just have found like a boyfriend
Yeah.
and like friends and just a support system who encourages me getting help and me
Mm,
processing my trauma, which is something that I never really got in the Philippines because everyone in the Philippines is just like, no, don't talk about that, or just like
yeah.
that doesn't matter,
Push,
like
push, put under
gaslighting
the
you.
rug. Under the
Exactly,
rug.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like, um, you know, the fact that there are queer people around me, and that there are people who are very open about their own struggles with mental health. The fact that they're around me is just like very encouraging and very helpful, and helps me open up more in the art form that I do. And even outside of making a film, just like um, processing my own thoughts and being comfortable with me sitting down alone with my own emotions
Mm,
has been very, very helpful.
wow. Thank you. Mm. Yeah. Okay, so I think we are down to the last. I have like I think 2 to 3 more questions. Okay, so my next question for you is for anyone that is either watching or tuning in,
Mhm.
listening. Like what are some advices that you can give to anyone that is interested in either being a documentary filmmaker or just I guess just being a filmmaker in well, no, actually no, just kidding. No, we're gonna I think for this one I wanna because you are specifically a documentary filmmaker.
Mhm.
What are some tips and advices that you can give to anyone who specifically wants to take the same route as you, creating documentaries, my friend?
Yeah, and this is going to apply for both nonfiction and fiction. Um,
Mhm.
really pay attention to your story and how your characters or the real people that you feature in your work. Really pay attention to how they grow in the story that you're telling. I feel like as a for me personally, as a filmmaker starting out, I was so caught up in good camera angles and this fancy camera and this editing software and like color grading and aesthetic and all of that,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is very important. But nothing can ever replace a good story. Like really pay attention to the roller coaster of emotions and the growth that the characters in your film have. Like it can't always be sad, it can't always be happy. The best films are a mixture of happiness and sadness. The best films are the ones that can make you laugh and cry at the same time. So really, really pay attention to that in your films. And fancy equipment and aesthetics and fancy color grading, all of that will come. All of that will come, but nothing will
Yeah.
ever replace the human emotional journey that you're telling.
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I have one. Can I just ask like can I add one more question because I totally forgot that I
Yeah,
wanted to
no,
ask
go
this.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm actually gonna put this in between because
Mhm.
I don't even know why I forgot to ask you. Like, what goes into your like how do you even create like what goes into creating your works?
Yeah,
Your
that's a good
documentaries
question.
that's gone so well. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I was talking to one of my documentary filmmaker friends, and the best documentary subjects that have really worked for me are the ones that have just naturally landed on my lap or were there in my life all along. Like I've tried making documentaries where I go out, research a topic, chase a news headline and all of that. And sometimes they work for me, but like the best documentary films have always been the ones that just are things that I think about on a regular basis, such as growing up as a queer kid, such as my own mental health. When I was making
Being
I'm Okay, Neither Are
Filipino,
You,
yeah.
being Filipino, when I was making I'm Okay, Neither Are You, um, like I had, come up with other ideas for documentary films, like this current event or this, scandalous thing that happened in society or whatever. But I could not get out of my head this traumatic
Mm,
experience that I had went through. And I knew that while it was uncomfortable for me to share that story, making a film about it would help me and maybe even help other people. specifically from the kind of gay Filipino perspective that I have. Those kinds of stories aren't necessarily available from the kind of perspective that I have or that you have. Um, so, that's really my process, just like really digging into myself and really thinking about what matters to me and what are things that
Mm.
I unconsciously think about in my everyday life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what you said exactly, I feel like, as cliche as it is, it's really like the recipe, right? To,
Mm.
good storytelling, success. What is success? But you know what I mean? Like, to brilliant, like creating brilliant works like you've done. And
Yeah.
also too, like I will have to say that that is definitely your brand. And from, some of the works that I've seen with you, it's like I feel like I haven't seen anyone really tackle this topic of LGBT and Filipino together in a way that is yours. Even though like it is in your own voice, like watching, seeing some of them, I was like, like the resonating in that is so strong, and I just personally haven't seen any other people do it the way that you do, as it should be. So yeah.
Yeah, I find myself at the intersection of, being a queer person and being a brown person and being Filipino and being in a relationship with someone and being a non-US citizen and all of that.
Mhm.
And all of those little things about me just come together in the very personal films that I make. And, these personal things, they just hit different. They just really, really hit different.
Yeah.
And, I always make that a driving force in the films that I make. And like I mentioned earlier, um, my thought process as an artist really is kind of like a heartbroken songwriter kind of thought
Yeah.
process as opposed to like a journalistic
Like
kind of
Adele. There you go.
yes. Oh my God, like Adele. Oh
Yeah.
my God,
And all
Adele.
the other people.
Mhm.
Kapatid. Okay, so we are down to our closing question.
Cool.
Thank you again for being here. I'm really touched. I'm really, really touched. So my final question for you is, what is the legacy that you would like to leave behind?
Ooh, that is a great question. Honestly, um, by the way, just jumping back when you said Adele, like one of my it's like drama Adele Rosario. Anyway, whatever.
Wait,
You
wait,
can
wait,
edit
wait,
it out.
wait.
That was
Oh, wait,
so
wait, wait,
bad.
wait, wait. Hold on. Say it again. So say that again. Hold on. Sorry. Say that again. Get that
Drum,
joke.
drum, Adele Rosario.
Dramadel.
Like Adele, the songwriter.
Dramadel.
Okay, if we're gonna edit this out.
No, no, no. No,
Did
you're
that make
good.
sense?
No,
Anyway, okay. To
no,
answer
you're
your
good. No, you're
question.
good. Thank you. I'm not good at. I'm not good when people tell me jokes. I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
just kidding.
Okay, what was the question?
No.
What was the question again?
Mm. I feel like I killed the
Oh, the
moment by not
legacy, the
laughing.
legacy,
No, I'm just kidding.
the legacy of the. One thing that I really want to make eventually with my personal films is to kind of make an anthology of the
Mm,
things that I've gone through in my life. In this family, my coming out story being chapter one, I'm okay, neither are you, which is about mental health, sexual assault trauma, and being in a relationship. Would be like chapter two, and then down the line in my life, chapter three, chapter four, so that when I die, there would be this anthology of different little journeys that I've had throughout my life. For me as a documentary filmmaker, a lot of documentary filmmakers are very like National Geographic, Animal Planet, where they go off to this far off land and like explore the nature and like the cultures in these
mm,
like far off exotic communities. And for me, the journey hasn't always been geographical, and it's more of a temporal journey or like a journey through time. And yeah, so making an anthology of just like little short personal films that'll bear fruit once I'm older is something that I'd really like to do, and is a mark that I want to make in the field of nonfiction.
wow. parang that reminded me of Moira de la Torre. Actually, I don't see her too. Another version of like you and Adele, literally writing her like heartbrokenness, turned it into successful works, chapters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yay,
Exactly.
kapatid! Yes. Sorry. Actually, I actually thought about the joke while you were talking. I was like, oh, I got it. I'm so late. I'm like, okay. So before we end this, any projects? Where can people find you? What can we like? Future projects we can look forward from you. This is the time. Share, go plug.
Yeah, so all of my updates will be on my website, dramadelrosario.com, or on Instagram, which is Drama Del Rosario. I always, post any upcoming screenings and all of that. I might have some screenings for I'm Okay, Neither Are You later on this year, but, bound by the coronavirus. We'll see how that goes because film festivals, are either going to be virtual or in person. We don't know yet. So stay tuned for updates. In This Family is available on PBS platforms, including the PBS app, the PBS YouTube channel, the PBS website. So if you want to watch that short documentary, it's available for free. So feel free to watch it. And I am executive producing a documentary style narrative short film, which will be premiering this April. And I'm really excited about that. More details to come. And I'm just so excited for people to see this film and to get more screenings. Once the coronavirus has been settled, I'm so excited to go to screenings again and do panels and do red carpets and all of that. I miss that. I miss that aspect of my life so much. So I'm also executive producing a documentary style narrative film called Synonymous With, directed by Tom Hilton, who is a wonderful new filmmaker who I met at Outfest Fusion at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, I believe 2 years ago. And he's just so passionate about filmmaking, and I really resonated with him. So I'm executive producing his first short film. And yeah, so excited. That's going to be popping up in film festivals also throughout the year. So stay tuned. All updates will be on my Instagram page, Drama Del Rosario, or on my website, dramadelrosario.com.
Yes, y'all. Y'all better take notes. He is always active on social media. Every single day. I live for it. I live for it. Yay, kapatid. We did it. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Maraming salamat. And it's
Thank
funny too
you.
because no, you're welcome. It's funny because, well, prior to getting here was a little bit of a struggle bus, but I think we not only survived, we conquered. I with these interviews, I actually like, besides my questions, I just never know which direction it's gonna go. So I think that is like really the best parts about doing this, because I feel like sometimes I'm like, the way the person is, I'm like, okay, I'll have an idea. And then sometimes it just goes like this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, yay. Okay,
Well, I'm glad I
so
did this. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really glad I did this.
yes, I'm really glad that we finally did it. So this is Soul Supremacy, where we talked about all things, or most things, unapologetic, all things passion and in pursuit of. And thank you all again for tuning in. This project really means a lot to me. Drama, thank you again, and we will see you next Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This podcast show is a product of Studio Penguino. For more information about advertising, please visit www.adrianpenguino.com.